BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
I'm trying out something new.
Zoinks!
And a good ahoy hoy.
No,
What do you reckon? Stick with the old one?
Yeah.
I'm Dan, by the way. Hello. It's episode 419. It's BRB UK. We're doing a podcast. You're listening to it. Aren't they, Coleman?
Hi!
Aren't they, Tim?
Yes.
You don't sound sure.
Well, I mean, they've downloaded it. Whether they actually listen to every word of the podcast, who knows?
Delay. Do you?
I imagine long-term listeners have learnt to tune out for this bit of absolute drivel before we start talking about video games.
This is high-quality observational humour / mad bants, okay? These are the maddest bants. Lads.
Now that we've classified it, I'll know in future.
This is the bants section, quote unquote. All right.
If you stream the BigRedBarel UK podcast to your pets while you're at the house so they feel like someone's there, let us know in the comments.
I have to say, podcasting confuses my cat because he thinks I'm speaking to him.
Right.
No. He actually just can't be asked to even look at me now. He's just like, all right, you've been talking to a screen all day, you big weirdo. I'm just going to go to sleep. Don't disturb me while I sleep. Thank you very much.
It's a good attitude to have.
The only time I listen to the podcast is while I'm editing, or syncing the video. So
you're not listening to me and Tim now?
Well, I'm listening now, but when I listen back, and that's usually at a 1.5 speed or a 2-point speed, so all you can hear coming from my headphones to anyone in the room is
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah, or the minions or something, you know.
It's nice that you think of us that way, as your minions,
definitely.
Coleman. Pulling the strings.
I
can make them say whatever I want them to.
I am no one's minion.
No, you're not. You probably wouldn't get hired for that, Tim, in all fairness. You get distracted.
I can literally make you guys say whatever I want you to, so, you know, hey.
Right.
Roger me with an avocado and call me Keith.
Yes.
No.
I think we've all been there, haven't we?
Hello.
So
let's not test his powers. Move on.
No. Quick next gen check, Coleman, or current gen check. PS5 yet?
No, not yet.
Timothy, yours hasn't exploded because it's in your front room yet.
No, operating perfectly fine.
Still
all
quiet.
Good. Other than when the first time I made it. Heard it make any noise was installing
when you dropped it.
Installing from the discs on Cyberpunk. Basically, I went physical with Cyberpunk. I pre-ordered it a while ago. Wasn't sure what was coming, but it did come with a load of extra physical things, steelbook case, maps, and other bits and bobs. I think all the dongs are in the game.
Well, we're going to talk about that later. But can I just say, why is it that people who don't play a lot of video games, who you might live with, like my other half, she doesn't really play games. Why is it that when you're always at the bits where, you're, for example, selecting what penis you want your character to have, that is the moment where people go, "Hi, do you want a cup of tea? Oh God, what are you doing?"
Because the truth there is, Dan, is there are a number of those points in video games where someone in your life could walk in and of that occasion, like that happened to be that, but there's probably a number of other occasions where that could have been equally embarrassing or as bad. Doesn't make you look good.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later, but I'm just saying for so many reasons, I'm going boxer shorts in Cyberpunk. Anyway, it's not just that game that's come out, and we missed Tim last week. That's why the show was shorter.
Miss is a strong word.
Me and Coleman quite enjoyed the conversational freedom, I'm not going to lie.
And we came in under.
Yes, we did come in under an hour.
See, Tim. Just letting the team down. Not enough content on your own.
Oh, there's plenty of content. Yeah. Before I start rambling on about signal to noise and Tim's vocal contributions, Tim, you have an absolute metric ton of games.
I won't go through all of them, but
please
generally, over the couple of weeks, because I wasn't on the show last week as well, over the couple of weeks, I've managed to now finish a few games on the PS5 and just, settle into the pattern of what games I'm playing and kind of just, see how having both the consoles has kind of worked out a bit as well. So, yeah, just for the record, I rolled credits on Miles Morales, which quite liked, enjoyed. Overall, shorter, and I kind of like some of the stuff that they cut out of compared to the previous Spider-Man, but at the same time, I don't know, it still felt like it was lacking a few of the big kind of cinematic pieces that I would have liked to have seen a bit more of in the first game anyway, and more of in this one.
Cineworld didn't have either of them in it.
No. But yeah, enjoyed the world, enjoyed the collectibles, and enjoyed, the game generally. So yeah, was good, enjoyed that. And yeah, that was the first PS5 game I actually finished on the PS5. And then also rolled credits and had fun on those credits. I won't spoil too much of what goes on in there, but in Astro's Playroom as well, basically.
Aww.
So yeah, did that. And yeah, that's just a really cute, nostalgic adventure through the history of PlayStation. And yeah, it's quite cool. And yeah, and I finished up Ghost of Tsushima as well. So that's just 3 slightly different experiences. One, the pack-in game. One, the first game that I bought on PS5 and the first game I finished on PS5. And the other one, just finishing up a PS4 game that's, boosted and looks nice and good on the PS5 kind of thing.
So has Ghost of Tsushima had like a big up-res or updo for PS5? Or
there isn't a PS5.
By updo, I don't mean like a beehive or anything.
Yeah, there
like
isn't a PS5 version, but it's one of the games that's been, as they've described it, got Game Boost or something, or been given Game Boost.
Well, the PlayStation 5 uses Game Boost much like the PlayStation 4 Pro does, but because there's a super sexy drive and more RAM and stuff to play around with, you're seeing better improvements through playing. Yeah, so the game, a lot of games are having faster loading times. In this case,
which wasn't really a problem in Ghost of Tsushima anyway. They weren't there.
Artificially slowed down loading times because it went too quick in Ghost of Tsushima. But like I've mentioned in previous episodes, the performance mode, originally you had to juggle between a performance mode to play at 60 or have a fidelity mode to look at 4K. Apparently,
and
if
this one just gives both.
Yeah, if you do if you use the 4K mode, it will still run at a 60. So that's
so you can have all
nice.
the knobs doing all the things.
Yeah,
and finishing that game, it looked pretty good on the PS4 Pro that I had anyway, but it looked extra nice and ran nice and smoothly on the PS5. And just generally, as I said, kind of the experience of having the PS5 and the Xbox so far, there's been those big highlight moments and those big games, and those 3 are the shining examples of those, although I have messed around with other games on the PS5 as well. But I've actually played a fair bit of time on the Xbox just because I've had a chance to play a plethora of different games. My flatmate and I played a good bit of Need for Speed Heat, which is actually quite a decent, fun arcade driving game, and it's alright. It's right. It's one of those things. If I'd have bought it for 50, 60 quid, I probably would be disappointed. Getting it for free and just going to hoon round and have fun in it, my flatmate and I have played quite a bit of that game, basically.
Coleman has a question.
I have a question. Are you earning your cash by day and your rep by night, as we covered this last year?
Yes.
Wow.
Nice.
But it's one of those things where, as I said, I enjoyed it just because I can dip in and out of it. Likewise, I ended up playing FIFA 20 when FIFA 21's obviously just come out, and everyone's kind of raving about that and how
same game, Tim. It's the same game.
Well, that apparently plays nicely with the adaptive triggers and stuff like that, which doesn't happen at the moment.
Is that
so
only
much
because
in,
Wayne Rooney likes to go when he runs
on the PS1?
And you get that with the triggers.
PS5 and stuff, but yeah, I've just enjoyed just messing around with a bit of that. And then, the other game that I got to start Control for free, which I held off playing, and really enjoyed that as well. So that's been really good.
Was that
as well.
on Xboxes?
Because that's all on Game Pass. So I've played all of that stuff on Game Pass. The other one that I had a quick go on last night and ended up I was just like, oh, I'll have a quick look at this, and ended up playing for the whole evening that I had available to play games sort of thing, was Call of the Sea. And it's a kind of just come out on Game Pass, and yeah, just wanted to give it a shout out because I've really enjoyed it so far. Got kind of flat shaded graphics and a kind of stylized graphic style, but I quite like it.
A stylized style. I like
pretty
it.
good.
Tell me more.
Stylized art style.
Right.
But then, yeah, like it's set in the kind of mid 1930s, I think 1934 sort of thing. And
that is as close to the mid 1930s as you could go without it being mid 1935. In all fairness,
play as a lady who's following her husband, who was leading an expedition to get a cure for your affliction.
All right, what is your affliction?
What's my affliction?
At the
I'm
moment,
not talking about
you've only
those
really
T-shirts that MMA fighters wear.
Is it the syphilis?
Spots or lesions on the back of your hands, basically.
So it's the syphilis.
And
I've got the syphilis.
You're wearing gloves throughout the game. You encounter some
syphilis gloves.
You're following him to this expedition that went to this island, and then the expedition's disappeared. So you're trying to find out the mystery of what's happened. And I don't want to give too much of the story away, but that's the kind of basics of it. But it's a bit of a kind of just, walking around sim type thing, but with some really good puzzles.
So is it a bit like The Witness then in that respect?
Kind of, but as I understand that, I haven't actually played too much of The Witness. I've heard other people talk about it, but I think that's a bit more freeform in terms of you can go off and solve different bits at different times or something. No, whereas this is a bit more linear in that respect. You might have like an area which you need to solve the puzzle in, and you need to negotiate your way around that area to find all the different bits and find the different parts of the clues. There's lots of kind of cipher type things and like working out, okay, I don't know that bit of information, but I do know that bit of information, and if I cross-reference those two things, and a lot of them are sort of symbol related.
In your word, that could be, I don't know how to repair a car, but I do know how to make a sandwich. So let's see what happens.
But they talk about I think it's an island local to, because they talk about Polynesian culture and stuff like that. And but there's another presence on the island that's built other things that don't fit in with that sort of area or kind of the Polynesians, and you're trying to investigate what that seems to be, basically. But yeah, well, the excavation was kind of investigating that, and you're following their path and following what happened to them and seeing what's going on. So,
in summary, you're a lady with the syphilis. You've gone to an island with your husband because he's excavating the things out the ground, which might seem out of place and time with Polynesia. And to pass the time, you're wandering around the island solving puzzles like some kind of syphilitic nutter.
Dan, during the course of the 419 episodes of Big Red Barrel UK and the previous episodes of Sarcastic Gamer UK, you've come up with a lot of insults for Tim, but that by far is not your best.
What? What's that?
So you're a woman with syphilis looking...
I mean, it's one of my more long-winded insults.
It is.
I was talking about the game rather than describing Tim generally. But
as I said, the thing I really like about it so far is the puzzles are not necessarily obvious and not kind of like they're slightly like things you've seen in video games before, but like not necessarily repetitions of exact. It's difficult. I'm trying to describe it without giving away any of the puzzles, and that's a bit of a hard thing to do.
Doing a great job at it.
Doing a great job, but no, like it's a thing where they don't necessarily hold your hand and go, "Now you have enough information, solve the puzzle," kind of thing. You have to go.
You've got the syphilis.
Okay,
they don't want to hold your hand.
They kind of give you ideas, and you've got a journal to refer to so that you can see what information you have gathered, and that can kind of lead to you chasing other clues that you may or may not need. But yeah, like it's an interesting game. It's on Game Pass. I think it's worth checking out. Yeah, and I've enjoyed it so far, and I'm kind of intrigued enough to go in and try and see what's happening in the story as well. So yeah, enjoyed it.
So that is, I believe, that's on PC Game Pass as well, isn't it? I think. Yeah, damn straight cow version of Coleman. Cowman.
But it definitely seems to be that the PS5 is going to be, where the big hitting games are probably going to be played for me. That's where I've bought the PS4 version of Cyberpunk, but that's where I'll be playing Cyberpunk, basically.
What a mistake to make it, Tim, that's all I'm going to say.
I'm still pleased I've got the Xbox and have access to Game Pass for, all the different stuff there. The one thing I'll say, as a console gamer coming into this generation...
You can't just say one thing.
That's maybe more striking for me than it would be for either of you two, because you're slightly more used to this. But yeah, it definitely feels like I am in a more PC generation for consoles than I ever have been before, in terms of like the amount of options and like where you're choosing performance and stuff like that. But even beyond that, in games, there's lots of other options to do with graphics and fidelity and everything, and that seems,
which I don't like for a console.
It's taking away one of the reasons I have a console. So you make all these decisions for me.
I mean, I think part of the thing is that, I think you're right. In some ways, kind of part of the joy of a console is that you turn it on and you don't have to worry about anything. Off you go, you're playing. But I think because there's
no drivers to install.
Yeah. Hey, look, I love installing me a driver as much as the next guy. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, but one of the things is, I think, with modern consoles is that actually there's quite a lot of difference into what tellies people are now viewing it on. So it's, before it was like, is it 720p or 1080p? Now is it 1080p? Is it 4K? Is it HDR?
60 hertz, 50 hertz?
What flavour of HDR is it? What's the screen refresh rate?
Yeah.
All of those, because people with those higher end tellies want to use those features, but that has quite a major performance hit, which you don't want to penalise people who don't have those tellies that need the extra graphics horsepower to do. So, mate, it's welcome to my world of PC gaming, basically.
With consoles, I think part of the idea of you paying for a console, one of the big things about it is it's the plug-and-play solution. You pick your game, you've got your console, you plug it into your TV, bam, you're ready to go.
You also have to plug it into the wall and turn the switch on.
I get it. In the half-step generation, when we moved to the Pros and the X's and all that kind of stuff, the idea of going, okay, do you want to play 4K or do you want performance mode? At that point, I got it. At the launch of a generation, I think you should just, that should be the point we're going,
pick a side.
Here's the most amazing thing. You can all go play it. Now, but we're already immediately at the start of the generation. Do you want it with this frame rate? Do you want it with this refresh rate? Can your TV handle this? Do you want it in 4K? Are you going to play it in 1080p? Do you want ray tracing? It's
yes, you do.
Interestingly, I did actually do my homework this week as well. I did try, after finishing Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, I then went and restarted my New Game Plus in performance mode, basically.
Good boy.
Which, to be fair, I don't know if it was just the time and the place that I did it, but all I noticed was it graphically didn't look quite as impressive in places, and I was worse at the combat for some reason. So I'm like, maybe not. But I don't know if you saw this week, they announced that they've also brought out another mode that is
4K with ray tracing.
With ray tracing.
Sorry, performance with ray tracing.
Yeah.
Which is
so I mean, it just means there's more options again, but
I mean, even like the Destiny 2 just had its next or current gen patch land, and that's brought with it things like field of view sliders.
With what sliders?
Field of view sliders, which which is that level of granularity of options you're not used to seeing on consoles. So I think it's a good thing that players have access to those things. But does it start to blur the lines of you just want something to pick up and play? I know
the FOV the FOV option that should be a standard in any game option anyway. Even though I'm complaining, I've got a friend who genuinely, if the FOV's not correctly, he gets a headache playing. So,
although there are trade-offs with that, if the wider the FOV, the more stuff you can see, which may have a hit on performance, and certainly on some prior gen console games where everything's really finely balanced as to how much kind of the graphics fidelity they can push at a stable frame rate, it could break that. That's the only thing. But something like Destiny's got enough overhead where you can get away with it. But But yeah, interesting times. I hope what's ridiculous is like the NVIDIA 3000 series GPUs, it seems like they're about to already do their Pro variants, so there's all the TI variants.
It came out like 5 minutes ago.
Exactly. And I'm
it wasn't
really
that long ago that they're still not in stock.
I'm really starting to get fed up of this half-step upgrade that we're starting to see in every generation of everything now. It's
I blame Apple.
Do you? Why?
Yeah, iPhones.
Yes, and
that's the first recollection I have of this happening.
That's a cool story, Grandad.
It's true. It's they went. Was it 4? The iPhone 4, and then they went, and then we're going to announce the new iPhone. And went, iPhone 5. And they went, no. iPhone 4S.
Hang on, I didn't realise.
No Cyberpunk today.
Apple
We've got these two talking about Apple for the rest of the podcast.
I didn't know.
Sorry,
Apple
everyone.
was run by Pedro Jobs for a while. Oh no!
Let me tell you, I'm French. David Cage was that time for 5 minutes in charge of Apple.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Was that the emotional roller coaster phase they went through?
That was the time where all the staff started complaining about their management. Right, shall we talk about something else?
Yes.
I roll credits on Red Dead Redemption 2 this week. 2 days before Cyberpunk came out, so just in time. Really good game.
Like it?
Absolutely rate that game. If you've not played it and you find it on a sale, pick it up. Really, really, really good game. However, if you've got another big game, big open world type game that's going to be keeping you busy, you might want to wait a while because it'll get even cheaper.
Yeah. Do you think they'll do a PS5 version, presumably, at some point?
There was a really shonky looking leak.
PS5, Xbox Series X.
Well, so someone put up a thing where they went, hey, look, it's Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Redemption in a double pack on PlayStation 5, and this was on Amazon before they took it down. Really badly photoshopped. It's not real.
Yeah.
But I can see them doing that. And if you, I won't spoil the main game, but if you play Red Dead Redemption online, you'll notice it's not just the Red Dead Redemption 2 map, but also the Red Dead Redemption map. So I don't think it's... and there was a big rumour going, hey, like during the time of release, hey, Rockstar may be remaking the first game in the second engine, which is completely plausible and would be a good idea, because apparently for whatever reason, Red Dead Redemption is not portable to the PC.
Oh.
But Red Dead Redemption 2 was made with the PC in mind, so if you remade the first game in the PC, in the second engine, then you could play
Then
that.
you could also do it to PC.
And free money!
And yes, money. People like money.
Money!
Take-Two love money.
Mm-hmm.
But I finished that yes, recommend Red Dead Redemption 2, but finished that just in time for Cyberpunk 1977.
Hey!
Ooh!
I think that was just punk, wasn't it?
Star Wars year.
Well, that was the year of the Sex Pistols being signed, released, and dropped by EMI.
I mean, the brightest lights burn the shortest, don't they? So
yes, Cyberpunk 1977.
I don't quite think it was
Grammy Award-winning
1877.
Rumours is in the chart with Fleetwood Mac's The Chain and Don't Stop.
Do you know what I would love to
James
see?
Callahan
I
of
would
Labour
love to see
Party
a
is in
century
power.
by century version of Cyberpunk. I want to see Cyberpunk 1877, 1777, 1677. I just want to see it.
Steampunk. Steampunk?
Yeah. Steampunk? Punk is 1977.
Cyberpunk.
Right.
It is Cyberpunk, it's not Steampunk. Steampunk is weird goggles and that.
It's weird goggles and shit, mate.
Weird goggles and steam and locomotives and that, innit?
It's just
Cogs everywhere.
It's the Cyberpunk in the past, mate.
Stick some brass
would
cogs
be.
on you. Boom. Cyberpunk. No,
Who do you think you
I'm
are?
getting
Oh,
mixed
it's a
up now.
Barkington Brunel with your bloody steam glasses. Jesus.
Yeah, sorry. Cyberpunk 2077, which if you are somehow under a rock and do not realise what the hell is going on, this is one of,
Released
if not...
finally.
Well, one of, if not the most anticipated title of this year. Possibly this console generation, if you're looking at that. But
Now, can I just say, and
Okay.
I think you fall into this, Coleman, I was slightly reticent to pick it up after reading the early reviews, But I did pick it up. I did pull the trigger on it this morning and downloaded it while I was at work.
I was, for a very different reason to you, I bet. Was it the sheer amount of PC bugs that were reported for the game?
Well, sheer amount of bugs, full stop, from what I heard.
The fact that they hadn't seen any console versions for review as well was quite...
That was the reason I went for it. And so we mentioned this last week and the week before, I think. CD Projekt Red, they went, hey, Cyberpunk's coming out. Here is a gameplay demo that they did for their Night City live stream things. And all the gameplay shown was either PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 4 Pro. And I went, oh, that's actually sold me enough to go, yes, I'll pick up a PlayStation 4 version and then get it on the PS5 upgrade when that comes down the line. I was satisfied with the look of that. Then when reviews came out, I noticed that every single review was PC. And also, a lot of people not going into the transphobia stuff or the epileptic problems and all that kind of thing. More so, a lot of journalists were speaking out about the NDAs that they had to sign for the game. In particular, they weren't allowed to use their own footage. They were only allowed to use B-roll if they released on the correct date. So a lot of video impressions weren't seen because that B-roll, by the way, also played at 30 frames per second without ray tracing. Ooh. So I don't know why they did that.
Ooh.
Okay.
The other thing was every single review was PC only. The PlayStation 4 versions came out yesterday as we're recording, I think, day before release. And that was enough to kind of get me worried and go, maybe I should hold off at least until the first patch and see. I wanted to wait until people had it in their hands and played it and started speaking a bit more freely about it. And that happened yesterday. I saw more people reporting on console versions and went, do you know what? Looks good. I'm going to go pick that up.
Because I think part of the challenge is that, so with the PC the day before release, it's a weird world where not only are there day 0 or day 1 patches that are almost required to get the game running as it should, but in the case of the PC there was specific driver optimizations. So I think before a lot of the reviewers were saying they were only getting about like 40 frames a second at 1440p on a PC, whereas after release, with all the jiggery pokery that Nvidia does behind the scenes with their drivers and super sampling and stuff like that, I've only played a little bit, and I mean really only a little tiny bit.
Okay.
But running super smooth, super fast, looks great. Bizarrely, my character doesn't seem to have a reflection all the time.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
That's weird.
Which is really weird.
Reflections seem to be a problem.
Stuff your ray tracing.
Yeah, what that is like everyone else can have ray tracing apart from you. But you can see your own legs. Very strange. Anyway.
Or hands if you're in stealth, like that.
Yeah. But, I mean, literally, I haven't played anywhere near enough for it to have any kind of opinion. But clearly, someone put a lot of thought into knob physics. That's all I'm going to say.
I played a little bit
of flopping about in front of you as you rotate your character is a truly troubling experience.
I'm assuming I played a little bit more than you, Dan. I got about an hour and a half in this morning before work, and I'm having fun with it. I will say the other thing is the kind of troubling thing of me trying to get any information I could on console versions before this came out. If you bought the game through Best Buy in the US, you accidentally ended up with the game a week early. Much to the dismay of CD Projekt Red, who then went around DMCA takedowning anyone who put any kind of footage up anywhere through Twitter, YouTube,
I don't know what. That just conjured an image of them just appearing out of nowhere, stage left, just rugby tackling people randomly in their front room. That'd be an amazing thing to do if that was what a DMCA takedown was.
I think the first thing I saw was a tweet, someone moaning about the penis thing, but immediately it went, and I've been taken down. So it was quick. They went straight down. And I didn't see anything. I managed to find nothing on the console stuff. I'm sure if I looked for live streams, I would have found something, but who's got the time? Started playing this morning. Happy to say we did decide, mainly because I picked mine first, we did decide on our beginning characters.
Yeah, you picked the one I was going to go with, but anyway.
Was it really? Because we had this chat before on a previous episode.
Yeah, I've forgotten, but just in terms of, like, you know, in the run-up to this week.
Well, my reasoning was because you have 3 different background characters, and it only really affects like the first 30 minutes of the game. It's how you begin the game. You can have a nomad, so you live in the outskirts of the city, working your way to Night City. You can be a street kid, growing up on the streets of that city, or you can be a corpo. You work in the big corporation and you're leaving to do stuff in the city.
That's me, folks.
Dan's picked corpo, I've picked nomad, and Tim's got a street kid.
Well, that's the thing, but... See,
I thought they kind of suited us. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but I didn't want to do
outsider.
corpo because that sounds like it's the opportunity to be a complete dick to people, and I like to do that on my second.
Like I said, I thought that suited us.
I thought you just like, I like to have some separation between real life and my downtime, so I thought I'd be a nice guy.
But also, I heard from a few preview stuff. I watched some of the stuff that friend of the show, Paris, from Gamer Tag Radio, was doing some intro stuff on. He was interviewing a couple of the developers on launch night, basically. So yeah, I watched some of that. That was a good interview, and yeah, they came up with some bits of information and stuff about what they were doing with that and stuff. But yeah, like, just props to him quickly on what he was doing and getting that opportunity, because it's someone that we've known for a few years, and Gamer Tag Radio have always been on the front page of our site, and seeing those guys go places at the moment is
it's great.
It's been really good. But
sorry, just to jump in there as well. Gamer Tag Radio, they had one of their hosts on the IGN Xbox podcast this week as well. I heard Paris get a shout out on there, so double shout outs. Big fan of his yellow chair.
I love a yellow chair. I don't even know why I said that. That was just like a reflex. Yes, I love that.
He got sent a Cyberpunk chair, and it looks really cool. I'm
I love
quite
a Cyberpunk
jealous.
chair. Send me one.
Yeah. Do you know what? I want a gaming chair, but I want a gaming chair that doesn't look like a kiddie's racing seat. But it's so hard to find those.
We were talking about the Nomad and stuff, and everyone says in your first place, I don't know why, but everyone that I've heard on that and other sources I've said, whenever asked about like what character you should go with first, they say, well, Street Kid's good, but you should either go with Nomad because they're new to the city and that gives you a good intro, or Corp because that gives you a good intro to the corporate world and you got lots of money and blah, blah, blah. So I was like...
I literally just went with that because I thought it suited me
better.
I heard none of this.
But I actually think it'd be quite interesting for me to then go to Street Kid and then see why it is that the other two were recommended in thing. And as there's 3 of us, why not? Like,
in reality, I really wanted to go for Corpo, but I had to play to my strengths, I felt. But yeah, started playing that. I'll put some footage in the YouTube version of this. Plug. But I've again only played an hour and a half of the game, and from what I've been able to kind of glean so far, character creation, it's not as extensive as I was hoping. I was really expecting, like, again, I mean,
did you get to pick the length of your teeth?
No.
Oh,
no.
I thought that was an option.
No, you get to pick the colour of the teeth and the length of your...
It's
length of your ding-a-ling-a-ding-dong.
It's literally
not the length of your teeth and the colour of your ding-dong.
Right, okay.
It's less WWE creator superstar and more kind of World of Warcraft pick options, and it is literally just...
So less pants.
Pick a nose, scroll. Yeah, that kind of looks like my nose. Okay, and you can't adjust head sizes and shapes and things in the way that you could in other things. I tried to, and I look kind of Hispanic because it did not work.
Yeah, I generally don't bother in game. I try and make a different character.
Yeah, but you know me, I play with them wrestling. Yeah. I made a Tim in WWE for flip's sake.
Hey. But chaps, the question is, pants or no pants?
I thought you were going to go, how long is your dong?
I couldn't find the option.
You just like all dong all the time.
Yeah.
Well, because if you have a look,
you can go nudity. It's the nudity option, no? Like,
or
full nudity.
I think it's like genitals off and on or something. It's a very bizarre set of options. And if you go none, you just wear pants. You have pants that are surgically grafted onto your body. The only reason I did is that I have heard of bugs that if you have your wobbly bits turned on, is that they do sometimes clip through your clothes and slightly break the fourth wall in narrative scenes.
See, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be funny as hell.
This game is first person. Do you mean it like pops up like a gun in Doom or something?
It could do. Yeah, well, it is pump action, so that is a genuine...
dun, 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 dun.
Cybernetically enhanced.
I mean, I'm surprised that you can kind of, you can choose the cybernetic modifications on your character, but I'm slightly surprised not even as a slight joke thing, that there's no cybernetics downstairs. It's, that's au naturel, that's 100% organic free range dong down there. So,
but following on from
a rampant rabbit as an option or something like that.
Why not? But following on from the character
following
creator,
on from
you then get your intro into the game, which I say is around about half an hour, depends how long you're going through. So as a nomad, it's working your way into the city. I believe all versions you meet the guy who's like your partner in the game, Jesse,
Keanu.
I want to say. No, not him. Different guy. Big muscular guy. Muscular, that's all I can really say. But depends on what background you pick, but he'll always appear at the start and make his way in with you.
I think I had a little chat with him. That's as far as I've got. I just threw up in a sink.
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that. And then I did a mission with him. I did some training stuff, and then I did some customization options again, and then I had to switch off because I had to work. But so far, the kind of play of the game... And I've heard that if you're looking for like a new GTA, this is not that game because it is an RPG first and then a shooter later. So you're thinking more Bethesda, but not as big as a Bethesda game. Just the bugs of Bethesda and better looking. I'd kind of liken it to, it's definitely more Deus Ex, the last generation Deus Ex, rather than... original PC versions, but then
but I don't mind that at all.
But then throwing
like what I want.
Open world aspect
and that was
to
very
it.
much the vibe I was getting as well. That's what it made me think of, and great. I love the kind of the feel of the Deus Ex universe and how that came across in games. So
I have
I'll be
a
up
question.
Yes.
What did you guys pick in terms of combat difficulty? Because I've heard it's a better idea to go hard, possibly.
All right, I just went normal.
I went normal. All my options were normal.
But you finding the
not
combat
hard in any way. No hard options.
Okay,
for
so
me.
far. Challenging.
The only combat I've only had stealth combat and then one gunfight, and then the rest is training mode. So
you've just thrown up in a sink. Sorry.
Yeah, I've just thrown up in the sink.
We'll have to come back to this at a later date. But
I'm not sure on that one, but yeah, we'll see.
But I'm liking what I'm looking at so far. It's got the makings to really kind of get its claws into me. When I've said that, it was GTA 5 before, it was Red Dead Redemption after that. I like having an open world game that I can kind of chip away at over time. This looks like this is going to be that game. So I'm glad I finished Red Dead Redemption 2 just in time, because I really wanted to get it out of the way.
And Ghost of Tsushima for exactly that reason as well.
One thing, and I think this was more the kicker of me picking it up on release day rather than waiting, which I was contemplating in doing. My YouTube, I tend to watch videos while I'm working, so it'll get to a point when I finish the playlist I'm watching or whatever, it will just automatically pick something. And there was some channel, and I really wish I could remember off the top of my head, and I haven't got time to find it, but this guy basically went through all the lore of the card games, the board games and things in the past, and mashed it all together and went, here's everything you need to know about Cyberpunk before you get into Cyberpunk 2077. It was like an hour and a half, and it was really interesting, the kind of the language and the things you've spoken to, and it was really helpful as well, because as I'm going in and people are making mention to like Eurobucks and stuff, I'm like, why are you saying things like?
I'm guessing that's money.
Yeah, it is money, but
see, just a natural.
And the kind of drugs that are available. And
you would know the corporate lingo in the word for money, of course.
You would.
Corpo.
Of course, big corp.
My favourite thing, and I don't know if this is the same for you, Dan, but in my intro, I've heard it a lot, is the term gonk.
Yes.
Everyone seems to use the term gonk, which I had to... That was the one that wasn't covered in the video. I had to look that one up, which I found Cyberpunk street slang.
Is it just...
It's basically a twonk. It's an idiot, a fool, a schmuck.
Derogatory,
which
it's also
really
a droid
like.
in Star Wars, the Gonk droid.
Yes, Gonk droid. But I it's what I remember of a Gonk as a kid. It's those furry things with the little bug eyes and paper big feet, and you could you'd win them at fairs or get given them at car dealerships. Gonks.
Gonk.
Good.
Cybergonk 1977. I really enjoyed it. So far, again, I've only played an hour and a half. So,
if you had to, listeners, I'd be intrigued to hear if there was a year ending in a 7, like 2007, 1997, 1987, whatever. What year would you like to see Cyberpunk actually set in, just for your own amusement? I would like asking? 1987, I think, just to see what Cyberpunk looks like.
I'm still waiting for the Order 1986.
Yeah.
Better music.
The Global Technicolor T-shirts would have been the
Why is the
range
Order
at that time.
1886 not in the PlayStation Classics collection on PlayStation Plus?
Because the studio...
It's a terrible game.
No, I wouldn't say that. I'd say more like... I mean, they put it in sales every year. It goes down to like £4 sometimes. And for that price, it is worth paying.
Yeah, but
paying through.
I don't understand why it isn't part of that, because isn't that at least a second-party studio?
Also, I'll just add to that, if you don't have a means to play Gears of War, it's definitely worth playing. But play Gears of War over this. I don't know, but the studio got bought by Facebook. Oculus. So I don't know if that's got something to do with it. Who knows? But yeah, Cyberpunk. Let us know your impressions of Cyberpunk if you've been playing on the Discord, Facebook,
you'll probably
Twitter,
know more than us by the time you're listening to
YouTube.
this, having played it for an evening or so.
Yeah, I fully intend on sticking some massive time into this over the weekend. I really want to get into this. I'm liking it so far.
But then also, I was going to mention, we're going to be a bit behind on some news this week because the Game Awards are taking place tonight as well. So we won't have any information about that because they won't have taken place yet.
It's right. Destiny 2 won all of the things.
Oh, good.
Good.
True fact.
It's about time.
Did. Yeah.
Dan, you got time to talk about Project Wingman?
I could talk about Project Wingman. Tim, you are a man who on the internet is associated with flying games and novice mode. Am I not wrong?
Maybe.
Hey, what if you wanted to have those kind of thrills, but without Ace Combat? Have I got the game for you? Yes, sir, I do. Project Wingman.
It doesn't sound
Project
good.
Wingman is made by Ace Combat fans for Ace Combat fans.
Combat fans.
I mean, I've played about an hour and a half, 2 hours of it so far. It is, it's a pretty spot on, like, greatest hits version of Ace Combat. That really fun mix between, kind of arcadey feeling flying and having to, just light little bits like adjusting your yaw and stuff like that, where you can really feel like you're in control of the plane rather than it being by wire. But yeah, it is just the most incredible tribute to Ace Combat, complete with completely ridiculous plot lines. I'm just going to try and find the intro text because it's just incredible. It is just incredible. Okay, so
Justin.
No. So I mean, it is. So it's kind of, you are working for a private military corporation. There has been a big event that's led to global cataclysm across the world, and all of these private corporations work for these new city-states, and they're all trying to fight against one another. And it's basically, look, jump on a plane, shoot some mans. Is what it's all window dressing for.
So would you say the story is of the same kind of caliber as Ace Combat? Because it sounds like it.
Yeah, but I think it's done so very knowingly. Very knowingly. I think it knows that it's that it is just frankly ridiculous. I mean that I think that's in a good, fun way, to be honest with you. It's very, very self-deprecating in that way. It's clearly a bit or at least I hope it's tongue-in-cheek. That's my assumption, it's tongue-in-cheek, because a lot of it is just like the most Tom Clancy stuff you can think of, where it's like, hi, I'm I'm Hitman 1, call sign Joker. That kind of stuff. Really proper, full-on dumb crap. But it's, the game plays great. If you enjoy Ace Combat, which I think quite a lot of people do, it's a really fun, fast-paced, arcade, flighty-shooty thing. This will scratch that itch. And I think it's about 15, 20 quid on Steam. Really worth it for that price.
Oh, it's. I wrote this down earlier. It is Project Wingman, 1949.
Well, there we go. That's about 20 quid. And it's a hell of a good time. I have to say, I'm loving it. Really, really enjoying it. It's just a nice bit of it's almost like popcorn for your mind, where it's just kind of, you know what you're going to get, but it's really enjoyable. There's explosions. It looks quite fancy. It's as dumb as a box of crayons. It really is.
That's pretty dumb.
That is pretty dumb. But, take it at face value. If you like Ace Combat, you're going to love this. Simple as that. Really enjoyed it.
Can I read you the first recommended review I saw on Steam for this?
Yes!
Made by the fans of Ace Combat for the fans of Ace Combat.
Excellent.
I've got a feeling that's going to get used a lot.
So, I can tell you, here we go. So the game is set, and the Earth was afflicted with a worldwide cataclysm.
A worldwide cataclysm?
Yep. Uncovered
COVID.
a valuable geothermal energy source called cordium. Yes. And you play the silent protagonist simply known by his call sign Monarch, who is a member of the Hitman team of Cascadian pilots employed by Sicario. Huh? Yeah?
Oh, that's where
so far.
Dr. Doom runs that place.
Oh, no, right.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's as, like I said, dumb as a box of crayons, but thoroughly enjoyable.
Love it. I remember seeing, if this is the right one I'm thinking of, wasn't there a preview of this a while ago and they were talking about VR down the line?
It does have VR in it.
Possibly.
Oh, okay.
It does.
And it does have full flight stick HOTAS support as well.
That's right. This might have been a TGS thing, because I think I raised this to Tim a while ago.
Didn't they bring VR to Microsoft Flight Simulator? Or have they brought it to it, or they announced it's coming?
Yeah, I think I think that's a thing. But you have to have a pretty powerful rig to run Microsoft Flight Simulator as is. Yeah. Sticking VR in it does not seem like the best of ideas to me.
Just interesting that Microsoft are actually bothering with VR for something, but yeah.
Microsoft have their own VR headsets. The Microsoft Life, I think that's what they call them. But yeah, anyway. Hey, do you want to run through some quick old news?
Let's run through some quick old news.
Okay, so Game Awards, as Tim said, they're happening tonight as we're recording, so we can't really discuss them. However, Jeff Keighley did go on Twitter and announce that Ghost of Tsushima is the Game Awards Players Voice Award winner after 3 rounds of voting from fans. I think this came to the wire between Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2. So there you go. Which someone then put up a picture of... What's the name of the ghost of the main character?
Jin.
Bob. Jin, that's it. I think someone made a picture of Jin holding Neil Druckmann's head. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's a bit dramatic.
Neil Druckmann did respond in kind. So, and by the way,
I haven't played Last of Us 2 yet. I'm sure it will be very good when I get to it. But Ghost of Tsushima would have definitely got my vote. Yeah, having finished that this week as well. Possibly one of my favourite games of all time. Definitely one of my favourite games of all time. Possibly my favourite game of all time.
Okay.
It's up there with God of War and the original Spider-Man, basically. So,
wow, okay.
Yeah.
Last of Us 2, do it. It's good. Also, how would you guys like to see another video game adaptation made into a movie?
Yes, please. They're always brilliant.
Well, we had Sonic this year, and that was really good.
Yep, that was good.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually. But some say the greatest film ever made. I don't know who says that. Probably children. But it was all right.
Care Bears the movie.
Anyway. Metal Gear Solid. We know this is happening. This has been happening for a while now. And there were rumours because of a render that was made of Oscar Isaac as Solid Snake. According to a report from Deadline, apparently that is actually happening.
Oh my God!
Oscar Isaac is Snake.
I can kind of see that. No, that kind of works.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it from the render. Stick a bandana on him, he'll look like Snake, I guess.
Yeah,
just as long as he can speak like this.
My God, little
my
gear.
God, Otacon, what are you doing in that locker? Oh my God.
Someone banded about the idea of Revolver Ocelot being Gary Oldman, which I kind of like, but in my headcanon, he's always been Daniel Day-Lewis. But I don't see Daniel Day-Lewis doing a video game movie.
No. Oh, but that would be a genius bit of casting, though.
Yeah, I could see I could see Gary Oldman doing it. He's done some gash in the past.
Yeah. So is
just
it
throw enough money at him?
Is it the first Metal Gear Solid? As in,
well, that's
Metal
the
Gear
thing.
Solid
we don't know if it's Metal Gear or if it's Metal Gear Solid.
But the only thing that gives me slight reservations on this is presumably Kojima is not going to be involved in its production.
No.
In which case, I think it will suffer. Well, probably suffer as a consequence, although might also make it possible to actually do.
You're allowed to make it, but you can't mention Foxhound whatsoever.
Yes, that's very true. Actually, I think the format for this, if they did want to turn it into some kind of non-interactive video entertainment, I would have gone a multi-part series. I think it would suit itself much better to that rather than one big long splurge.
If you can get one of those kind of Lord of the Ringy, Matrix-y type deals where you go, okay, we're going to make 3 films in one hit, or close to that.
I thought it was only Matrix did 2 in one hit, didn't they? I think it was remastered and
reloaded.
reloaded.
Literally made them at the same time, yeah.
But will there be a smoking monkey is my main question.
No, because then you need old Snake, and Oscar Isaac's just not there yet.
No.
Maybe Gary Oldman.
Yeah. Look, just because his name is Old Man, that's not how that works.
Gary Old.
You can't play any old man in a script. That's the wrong type of typecasting.
It does not work that way. All right. It's a
better
bit
than
like
when he plays
Coleman.
Russian.
You can't
play Cole in any film.
Exactly. You
I'll play
do
Snake.
other things than be a bit of Cole.
Colonel.
I want to know if someone is going to be the DARPA chief and they spend their entire run sat on the throne. That's what I want to know.
They spend the whole film on the toilet, and then the after credit sing is him going, ah!
Yeah. Hey, bring it on. Although I still think they should just cast David Hayter because bless him.
Just because he's amazing. I mean, they could get Oscar Isaac and David Hayter could work him like a puppet while he's doing the voice.
Oh my God.
You could just voice it.
Yeah, just open and close your mouth when I pinch you on the back. That old one. So pretend to be a ventriloquist dummy. Okay. Will they take all your film history into account so that Psycho Mantis can then say to you, so... You like the Care Bear movies?
I don't know. He's not Yoda.
I can't do a Psycho Mantis.
So, move your controller.
That's it. It's going to be is it 4DX, the big vibrating chairs and all that kind of stuff?
Yep.
He's going to be moving those about, shaking you out of your chair and what have you. Yeah,
does it make you go
times.
to the cinema 2 streets down for the bit where you try and plug your controller
you
into
have to swap screens?
That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. Swap screens.
Swap screens.
I like it. Also, very quick news this week. xCloud is coming officially to iOS and PC. Microsoft have confirmed. So
yes,
in the spring of 2021, there will be an Xbox app available on the Microsoft Windows Store, and iOS will be able to use it via mobile web browser. So I say official, but Apple's still doing their restrictions.
Actually, what happened recently in this kind of stuff, NVIDIA, they have their own, they're kind of the NVIDIA cloud streaming stuff. That actually, GeForce Now, I think it's
good.
Called.
Yeah, GeForce
Now.
That has actually released unofficially on iOS in that exact way, and you can kind of still add a shortcut to your home screen, and it is like an app. I can confirm, totally works. Yeah, great stuff. And that is a really good workaround, although some of the limitations are how the buttons, if you connect a Bluetooth controller, not all of the buttons map correctly just yet. So like the guide button of an Xbox controller or pressing in on the trackpad on a PS4 N64 pad doesn't actually click that button. So there are some button combinations that don't work, but I'm sure they'll sort that out in time. But yeah, totally works. So good workaround, and more power to them. I think Apple trying to shut this down is a bit silly myself, but there we go.
Enabling these services to run through browsers, that does open up for other devices as well unofficially. So we'll see how that goes down the road.
You can play it on your fridge.
And lastly, I don't want to go into this too much, but there's been a lot of backlash against Nintendo this past week. And if you don't understand why, or there's all this shade, because this took me a while to figure out what was going on, because I just saw people complaining about Nintendo without fully understanding the scope. And most tweets aren't usually that explanatory, we'll say. They're mostly just a waving of the middle finger towards old Nindy. So if you want to know what this is all about...
what's it all about?
Nintendo's made some decisions. A lot of people aren't happy with them, and you can see why. So if we go back to last month, initially, there was a Smash Bros. Melee Big House tournament. Nintendo issued a cease and desist order to them because they're reasoning that to do this Melee tournament, it involved a cracked version of Melee because they had to hack it and do stuff with it, and they're not happy with that. The unofficial Slippy mod, it's called, to make the game playable online. So that's been cancelled. Following that, there was an official Nintendo Splatoon 2 open event in North America. This was meant to be a live stream, and it was cancelled the day before. Their reasoning being that it was cancelled because of unexpected executional challenges. Following that, there was... so I don't know if you've heard about Atika, because I did not hear about this. There's a YouTuber called Atika who sadly passed away recently. And there's Atika Memorial Joy-Con skins. So you buy shells and you put them on... You take your Joy-Con apart, put all the gubbins inside, screw them back together. You've got unofficial Joy-Cons. They were selling these to raise money for the Jed Foundation, which is a suicide prevention charity. And Nintendo then sent them a cease and desist letter to stop them selling the shells. And there are, if you look on Amazon right now and type in Joy-Cons, you will see a whole host of SNES-coloured Joy-Cons and all these different things. I think the issue is, because they are just the shells, that again, you're not selling the full Joy-Con. I think the issue was that they called them they used the terminology Joy-Con, and that is the copyrighted point. So I don't know if they could then take that away and re-release them without the terminology, but we'll have to see. But I think it literally said on the cases themselves, Joy-Con boys or something. So
yeah, it's tricky. I mean, it's Nintendo always very aggressively defends its IP, and it can kind of, from a corporate point of view, being a corpo boy, as I now apparently am, if you don't defend it, then that kind of undermines any claims you might make. But it seems very heavy-handed, especially considering what the intent of these Joy-Con shells was, and that the money was going to charity. You kind of would hope that some kind of arrangement could have been come to rather than a cease and desist in this case. Just seems a tad tone deaf to me.
Yeah. I mean, the live stream stuff, I totally get that. The unofficial, things happen. The unofficial tournament, I get that as well. They don't want their product being used in a certain way. But the charity thing, I think you could make an exception, but then we've got to remember as well, we don't know if it was Nintendo of America that did this or Nintendo of Japan. One is much more stricter than the other, Nintendo of Europe as well. It's a very weird and fragmented company when it comes to legal proceedings. One tells the others and they have to follow no matter what. So unsure, but it's not great. But this has caused a big stir of backlash from the community, Nintendo community, and I see a lot of things like, imagine if Nintendo were a great company, and they make like fictional tweets going, hey, I made this Pokemon mod, and they go, wow, we're so impressed with your enthusiasm. Instead, they just sort of slap them down with NDAs and not NDAs, cease and desists, and it's just going to keep happening.
Unfortunately, that's like, I don't think that's a reality of necessarily as much a reality of Nintendo as a reality of the capitalist world in which they have to exist.
Yeah, and The Joy-Con thing, I get why, but I don't agree at the same time. But I'm not going to jump on this whole thing of let's all slag off Nintendo now.
You know, I just think there's surely could have been a middle ground here, you know, and it all just seems very heavy-handed to me.
The phrase "read the room" is the is the advice I would give Nintendo in this situation. The other bit of advice would be, can we have some more exclusives for the Switch, please? I'm getting a bit bored now.
Can I just throw in an extra random bonus bit of news, because I've only got to mention the words Destiny 2 once so far this episode. Thank you, Orson Welles. Thank you. There is, in the new year, with Season 14, which is due out in February, I believe, they are not only have upped all the modern consoles with the most recently to 60 frames per second at 4K, all that stuff, but cross-play is finally coming to Destiny as well. So that means you're going to be able to get your raid on with your Xbox buddies, your PS4 buddies, or PS5 buddies, and laugh at your friends who play it via Stadia.
Isn't that like a shower cleaner?
What?
Raid on.
No, it's a radioactive gas that's disproportionately found in Wales.
By the way,
there's a large amount of slate.
Yeah, as you mentioned that, I don't know if it's
get your raid space on.
A small amount of evidence,
on.
But I have seen one person saying they've been playing Cyberpunk on Stadia and it's been running surprisingly well.
Because there are 3 concurrent users on Stadia at any given time.
Possibly.
Brilliant.
That's why. Lifting the curtain back.
Also on Cyberpunk, just quickly, I was going to mention 2 things we didn't mention before. 8 million copies pre-ordered, by the way, apparently. That's a lot of pre-ordering.
One for every missed deadline that game had.
And you mentioned at the top of the show that we didn't really get into some of the kind of other topics related to Cyberpunk this week, but I think we might dig into them a little bit more when we're talking about the game in more depth next week as well, no?
Absolutely.
I mean, I've got arguments both sides on both type things.
Yeah,
and
I don't think
like that could have been a show in itself, because I've got a lot to go through, and
I don't think any of us are particularly well placed to pass particular judgment either way, and so perhaps we'll wait for the storm to die down a little bit and kind of talk about that a bit more next week.
There's been some chat in our BigRedBarel UK group on Discord, so if you want to jump in and join in on that, then feel free. Have at it. But in the meantime, we've got to go.
We have, Coleman.
I think this is our last proper big show of the year, because we got to go and start doing our special mini episodes.
Christmas specials.
Basically, these 2 guys want to bugger off, and I will have to put together 4 episodes while we're gone.
Yeah, you will. You're like our little elf, your little Christmas elf. It's Coleman. It's true.
I think he could be Santa. I don't think we have to demote him to elf status.
Beard's not there yet.
Bringing all the gifts to all the BRB children. That sounds dodgier when I'm saying it out loud. I'm wearing my BRB shirt today, but
very good.
Oh wow, where'd you get that?
Very good.
A nice Coleman made it for me sometime.
Hey,
I made that a while ago as well.
There he is.
Well, now that I'm actually, thin enough,
I was going to say you must have lost some weight.
Sausages, so
So actually, I think all 3 of us bizarrely have managed to lose weight over lockdown. I'm not quite sure we've done that.
No,
Tim lost it before.
I've fluctuated. I lost a lot of weight before lockdown. Put some on at the beginning of lockdown. I'm losing a bit more again now, kind of thing.
I believe my excuse. I was talking to Selena about this earlier. I think first Tim lost weight, then Dan lost weight, and I went, "I'm not having this. I'm not being the fat one. I was the skinny one. What happened?"
Yep. Sorry, buddy.
So yeah. Let's get out of here. But before we go, we do want to tell you that if you have enjoyed this show, you can get in contact with us and give your inputs. If you want to give some feedback, if you want to ask us some questions, give us game recommendations, throw us some news we might not know about, then you can do so on the following ways. We have BigRedBarel.com, our website. You speak to us in the comments section on there. Also on that website, we have a Discord, Big Red Barrel's Discord. We got a little group room on there for BRB UK. We're always monitoring it. You can check that. Bit on Facebook and Twitter, we're at BigRedBarel, and on YouTube, BigRedBarel TV.
Yes, sirree, Bob.
We got a couple of questions this week. On Discord, Spiky Chris says, I have a question.
Yes, you do, Spiky Chris.
Will we be getting an audio podcast adventure novel for Ed's PS5 delivery on the next episode?
It has been an epic fight of Ed versus Yodel versus some other kinds of... I mean, Ed, good for you for not actually reaching down the phone and throttling someone, quite frankly. I mean, that he's, to be fair... He's kept his cool much more than I ever would, the amount of times that thing has allegedly been delivered but wasn't.
I've had Discord open and been watching this unfold in real time, and I keep going to go, I'm just going to jump in here because I've got something to say, and then it just keeps going and going, and I've lost my place. I'm like the Michael Jackson thing where he's eating the popcorn in Thriller. I'm just enjoying it too much. It's just a bit of Schadenfreude on my point, I think.
Make it sound like it's unfolding in real time. Makes it sound like a very low-key version of 24 or something like that.
It was a little bit. But, Ed had a whole thing with the delivery driver possibly nicking his PS5 and the company lying to him and then saying another company's lying to him and that company saying the original company's lying to him, and it just kept on going and going.
It is a saga. It's got everything you could ever want.
But
it's
Ed
incredible.
did finally get his PlayStation 5, so good for him.
Yay!
PlayStation group on Discord. Go check that out. Ed, I believe Ed's now he's now auctioning off the movie rights to this story because it did go on for a while. I believe Chris Hemsworth is in talks. So there you go. On YouTube, Steve Morris asks, "Why does Dan dress like an IT?"
Well, I think what you'll
best question ever.
So there's a couple of aspects to this. Now, IT interns share a couple of...
You've prepared a defence, Dan?
No, this is off the top of my head.
The old IT intern defence. I remember getting OJ off.
So this look that I'm currently wearing is shared by some other groups. One, out-of-work Top Gear presenters. And two, people going through a bit of a midlife crisis and wanting to seem like they might be young and trendy again. I'm somewhere in those two groups that aren't mutually exclusive, so that's my excuse.
I just assume that's what you wear for work.
Well, I do.
And for those who don't get
I've been working at home. I do actually put on. I will put on a shirt and put on some trousers. I haven't
tie.
No.
For those, I pictured you working in a tie, Dan, or a bow tie.
I haven't worn a tie at work since about 2007, I don't think.
For those that are just getting the audio version of this podcast, we are in fact talking about Dan's clown suit that he likes to wear for work. It's like a modern day Patch Adams.
I find the gimp mask really contrasts against it quite nicely as well. Sorry,
this completes the ensemble.
Oh, hoy hoy! That's why Dan dresses. Some say Dan dresses like an IT intern.
No, I actually channeling my inner James May is what it is. So there we go, mystery solved.
As well as contacting the show for questions and that, you can also give us a podcast review. We would love if you could do so. Let us know on Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Podchaser, and Stitcher. If you could, give us some of that lovely feedback that we love so much.
Do you want a review fun fact?
Go on then.
We've had one review from Malta.
Yay!
It's a fun fact.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're just literally looking at...
Yeah. Malta.
Right.
I like Malta. Malta's lovely.
Good.
Love it. Big up for Malta.
Yeah. So on next week's show, it's a mystery because we're going to go off and do a special show and we're not going to tell you what it is until it comes out.
To be fair, you haven't told me what it is yet.
It's on the flipping agenda, you blind git.
I know. Jesus.
If you want to know early, Discord, because I'm going to ask some questions on Discord that will relate to these here extra shows coming up. But otherwise, we're going to bugger off for 4 weeks. But in times of podcast, it will be like we've never gone away.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
And this is weird because our episodes will, I think, if I've got this right, one episode's literally going to come out on Christmas Day. One episode's literally going to come out on New Year's Day.
There you go.
It's a festive miracle, Coleman.
I quite like that.
Happy Christmas, everyone.
That's Tim's line. It's a tiny Tim.
Go on, Tim. I know.
Go on,
Tim.
say.
Go on, Tim.
It's not. No,
do it.
he's got to save it.
You stole it.
That's 2 weeks away.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
weeks
okay.
away. You can't. You just,
Happy Dongmas, everyone.
Ding dong merrily on high from
Ding dong.
Project Red.
Cyber ding dong.
So anyway, that's your lot. We're going to go now. So thank you ever so much for listening. Go to all those places on the internet that Coleman told you to go to because fun things awaiteth there. But without further ado, all we really need to do is remind you that I have been Dan.
I may have been Tim.
I have been Dongman.
Does that mean you can only play a dong?
Yes, he can only play the part of a dong.
Nice.
Oh, actually, no.
He has the bald head for it.
No,
so-
I'm going with Gonkman. I've been Gonkman. There you
You've
go.
been Gonkman. All right, Gonkman. All right, like that. Right, so we'll speak to you when we next speak to you. You'll listen to us when you next listen to us. And until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye. Swat.
Your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.
You get a map of people in a party and you are a psychopath.
Is it break up the lockdown party, the game?
If that's the narrative you wish to place on
Yes.
this, Dan, then I would
Is
say
the
yes.
end boss Rita Ora?